It is with deliberate calm and clarity that I record these observations, less to persuade than to document what I now understand must never be erased. I was assigned to the Streamer University Media Lab, a dull post by most accounts, where I repaired recording gear and backed up student projects from memory cards to the central server. Simple work, quiet. I preferred it that way. There were never more than a few others in the building after dark, and most of them were too busy recording their content to notice me. It was in that quiet that I encountered the last file India Love ever recorded, although that statement is misleading. For by the time I saw the footage, she had already been reported dead. The file was unlabeled, sitting in the overflow directory of a corrupted camera's SD card. A .mov format, time-stamped 2 hours after she was found. I assumed, at first, a technical error, a ghost frame, a glitch. But when I played it, the footage was impossibly clear, sharper than anything that camera could have produced. She sat in the center of the lab's editing suite, wearing the same black velvet top seen in her last verified stream, though her hair appeared damp, as if she had recently showered. But what struck me most, what unsettled me even before I noticed the rest, was her stillness. She did not blink, not once. At first, I assumed she had staged some kind of eerie performance piece. She simply stared at the camera, smiling faintly. 37 minutes passed in silence. Then, at precisely 2:42:16, she lifted one hand and began to wave. A slow, dragging movement, but her fingers didn't bend correctly. The pinky lagged behind the rest, disjointed, twitching as if on delay. I rewound and played it again. Then, frame by frame. Her joints, they didn't move. They folded, as if guided by invisible threads. That's when I saw it. The reflection in the glass behind her. Another face, watching. It was Rakai's hoodie. But the face, if it was a face, was stretched vertically, like a smear of wet paint dragged across a mirror. I scrubbed through the footage and saw it appear at several different angles, but never in motion. Always there, always closer. When I examined the audio feed, it seemed empty, until I filtered the background. Beneath the electrical hum, there were whispers, static-drenched phrases, looping, identical. Offline forever. A pause. Offline forever. It never stopped, not even when the footage cut to black at 3 a.m. exactly. I should have left it there, filed a corrupted report, and scrubbed the card. But curiosity, it drives even the most logical minds to ruin. I cross-referenced the timestamp with server activity logs. That exact moment, 3 a.m., marked a spike in outbound data from the lab's internal machine. Not just one stream, but 7, all routed through the same port. Camera India 01. This shouldn't have been possible. The camera was not even network-enabled. I looked through the building's local feeds. Footage from other rooms during that time, DDG streaming in the lounge, Kai in the gaming suite. Yet in each of their windows, their reflections paused. Not like a lag, like they chose to stop moving. DDG's smile lingered a half-second too long. Kai blinked, and his reflected eyes stayed open. The windows never synced back up. I checked the hallway camera just outside the lab. It was pointed at the door, but at 2:59, it fizzled, then recorded 3 frames of pure red. In the 4th, a handprint appeared on the lens. It wasn't human. The fingers were far too long. India's phone was recovered at the scene, but the last video was never released publicly. I saw it. In it, she's looking straight at the camera and mouthing something. No sound. I played it alongside the footage I found, and her mouth syncs perfectly with the voice under the static. Offline forever. Not a warning, a choice. Since then, all attempts to delete the footage have failed. It replicates. Any drive I plug it into, any server it touches, it grows, even in silence. It loops the whispers into live files, splices itself between stream intros and outros. Students think it's a glitch, a prank. But the face in the reflection appears more often now, behind more people. The mirror warps. The smiles last too long. Every time someone tries to go live from that building, something goes wrong. Video freezes, sound distorts, and behind the content, a shape. I've kept the original drive in a Faraday cage, but I don't know how long that will matter. The footage doesn't want to be watched. It wants to watch back. I see her now, even when the monitors are off. India, standing perfectly still, waiting. Her head tilts a little more each night. The smile never changes. If you are reading this, do not play the file. Do not try to solve it. This is not a puzzle. It is an invitation. The lab was sealed last week after the building's power surged, and 7 devices uploaded simultaneously to an unknown node, all labeled the same way: offlineforever.mp4, status live, viewers 1, and the camera light is still on. Now that you've heard everything, if you've truly been paying attention, I must ask, who caused India's death? What was the true purpose of the file? And what, or who, is the figure in the reflection? Think carefully. Pause now if you're not ready, because the answer will be provided in From the very beginning, clues pointed to something wrong with Rakai. Not in what he did, but in what he didn't do. Rakai never appears directly in India's recording, yet his hoodie is seen in every reflection. This suggests he wasn't with the others physically. He was watching from a place only the camera could see. The narrator mentions the reflections behaving independently from reality in multiple live streams. People's movements begin to decouple from their own reflections, which is not a natural glitch. It's a sign of an external force mimicking human presence. The whispers, offline forever, are heard only after filtering static, indicating a hidden signal, a deliberate embedding of a phrase meant to override human input. The handprint on the hallway lens, too large and unnatural, suggests a non-human or transformed presence. The footage from India is time-stamped after her death, confirming it was not just a recording, but a kind of transmission. The file itself is alive, and India had become its latest carrier. Rakai's disappearance isn't random. He was the first victim, not the last. The hoodie? A calling card left behind. His consciousness, or something wearing it, was uploaded first, and now it moves between reflections, mimicking streamers and taking their image. India was his next upload. This isn't about one murder. It's about a digital parasitic entity, seeded through footage, infecting creators, feeding on attention. Rakai was the entry point. India was the proof of concept. And now, the file is spreading. You weren't just a viewer. You were the next reflection. Offline forever is not a threat. It's a destination.